What do you say, Whole Heads live from ACO HQ? It's another long distance taco on this Tuesday. Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO. I'll be joined by Frank Geers, the Cornhole Dude, here in a moment because I still have to figure out where he is. You won't be the only ones finding out. So will I. But welcome to the taco. It is Rocktober 3rd. We got lots to get to. Lots to talk about where we've been, where we're going, a couple of recaps, and a couple of topical questions for you at the end as well to check in on. But in the meantime, everything we're doing, we're trying to move over to the YouTube channel. Makes it a little bit easier with regard to music licensing and some other stuff. Just blah, blah, blah. But I think it's a better experience anyway. So make sure you subscribe to the ACO YouTube channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Get yourself updated when new content gets added. In Spooky Nook, we had, I think I mentioned, we had some stones in our stream. So we went to the urologist over Friday night and moved off of Facebook back to YouTube. And thanks to the CBC guys for making that happen as well. So again, subscribe, hit those notifications. And the other thing too is we're going to get to it in a moment, but all of our social channels, we're starting to push out a lot more information, a lot more congratulations, a lot more just info about what we've been up to and what we're going to be doing. So make sure, you will get to that here in a second, but that you're ready to get that information when it scrolls up on the screen. As you see in front of me, as always, our bag partners showing up big time here in season 19. Over 50 bag partners have returned. These two that we're featuring this week. How about the High Roller Bag Company? These big slicks are pretty cool. You see them over there to my right and to your left, ACO stamped. And then X-Level Cornhole with the KO2s, which is kind of cool because I presume that means there was a KO1, but now it's KO2s. And we're going to have some other very cool bag information here in just a moment. But as far as the social goes, we've got the X channel, formerly the artist formerly known as Twitter. We've also got the Instagram. So go out there, find your way to those. You can even scan, I think, the QR code there for TikTok. And we'll start getting a little bit more into that when I get into better shape and can start dancing. So we'll get TikTok going as well. And there's also that ACO text push. If you have not signed up for that, it's an opportunity for you just to submit your phone number. Text ACO to 833-695-1318. 833-695-1318. And then a couple times a month, we may push out information right to your fingertips, whether it's ticket links or information about changes of times or different things that are maybe just to your local area as well. So get in there and make sure that you become part of the whole ACO social network as well. Now, I mentioned Frank, and this is one of the, we have the thing at the end we're going to be doing, where in the world is the ACO? I have this other game that I play with Heinerman called Where in the World is Geers? So let's bring him in and see if we can figure out where he is. Oh, there he is. Go figure. He's in a hotel room. Dude, so we talk about where you go and why you go there, and that's to find, new ways to get us into new cities, new things that are happening in the world of sports and entertainment just in general. But where are you right now, and what are you getting ready to do?
Well, Finn, you pegged it. I'm sitting in my hotel room. But no, I am down in Florida working on finding us the next great city partners and things that we will be moving on to, again, maintaining relationships with all the cities and venues that we currently have relationships with.
Cheers.
But really out right now, searching for 25 and 26 for our World Championship homes. That's one of our big focuses right now. We've got some pretty good ideas in the mix. Some of these spots we might want to give our players a little bit of time to save up because they're pretty cool vacation destination spots that we're looking at. But
awesome.
That's what I'm out doing right now, Finn. And then next week I head out, I think it's to Watertown, South Dakota for, back for a second year with a big ACO event out there. So
right.
As you said, I'm on the road all the time, brother. I miss you, man. I miss having my buddy wait, let's crack one right now.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Here we go.
I had to pour my Guinness, though. Sorry about that, brother.
Early? You had to go early? You couldn't wait? Well, Florida's a whole different time zone, right? No, I told somebody I think I've traveled 7 of the last 11 weeks. You've traveled 13 of the last 12, I think is what I told somebody. So, but yeah, and the other good news is I did know this. I didn't know where you were, but I know that you're out making friends with birds as well. Is that right?
Oh, dude, it's so terrible. I head over to the convention center this morning to get registered, to get all signed in, leaving a class that I was at. Coming back, I'm running back to get to our place here. I'm walking a side street, and I swear it was a seagull, a huge one, sitting up in a tree that I didn't see. And I felt like I was on a TV show. This bucket of crap that was dumped on my front of my toes. Half of it hit my jeans. The other part trickled on my head. It didn't hit me that bad. It didn't hit me square, but I was splashed by this crap from this bird. And I mean, I just dove out of the way, and it just kept coming down. And I'm looking around, and I felt again like I was on one of those sitcoms where they just threw a bucket of crap out the window on people walking by.
Like you're like in a Charlie Chaplin movie or something. But well, the good news is that's supposed to be. If you look it up, I think that's supposed to be good luck. I really do. If a bird poops, don't rub your eyes
I
with
don't
the
want any
poop.
of that good luck on my side. I got to be honest with that, brother.
You'd rather just stick with average luck with no bird shit on you. Well, fair enough. All right. Well, let's do this. I mean, we're just on the front tip of the season 19 iceberg, but a lot of really cool things have already happened. I thought it would be kind of cool for anybody who's just joining the taco maybe for the first time this season or maybe new to the ACO in general. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the cool stuff that's happening. Let's start with the adaptive cornhole because I know that continues to grow and more interest begins to grow there with Buffalo. And let's talk a little bit about that and what's happening on the East Coast, what's been happening on the West Coast, and everything in between.
Yeah, so I mean, adaptive cornhole is a really exciting venture that we've taken on this year, and we started it in Buffalo, New York, Finn, and it was where men and women who are wheelchair bound have the opportunity to compete head to head in this sport of cornhole. Now, the cool thing about it is, an able-bodied person is able to also compete in this adaptive cornhole, but all they have to do is sit in the wheelchair as well to play. So there are official rules to this now that we're putting in place. The first event was out in Buffalo, New York. Our second big event is going to be taking place in Owensboro, Kentucky. We are making this a points-earning endeavor. The boards right now, in terms of the rules that we have in place, are 21 feet apart. That's where we're going to keep it for the remainder of this season. We are, no pun intended, going to adapt the rules as the season goes along to what works best for this new division that we've created. The one thing I can also tell you is right now we're going to focus on doubles play only for this full season. That's the way we're going to push it this first year. But excited about adaptive cornhole. The first one in Buffalo, New York was very well received, and look forward to the future with it.
That's awesome. And then, that happened out East Coast, Buffalo at Riverworks. And then you go to the West Coast. And this is something that kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But, kudos and props to Boom, William Howe, for getting this together with the folks in the MASL. This indoor soccer, it was a hell of a thing. I mean, these were big matches for this league. It was the U.S. versus Mexico, men's and women's games. But we ended up having an opportunity to highlight a match on the court in the skins game format, right? Is that out at the Toyota Arena?
That was, and that really was a great event as well. And like you said, Finn, that Hal was instrumental in pulling this thing off. William Howe from West Coast Cornhole and one of the big ACO people helped pull this thing together. But he and I were out there. I went out there to work this with him. We ran a qualifier tournament in the afternoon outside by the bar in the patio area. And then later that evening, during the men's game, during halftime, because I think that's the way the soccer works. You got a first half and a second half, not quarters or whatever. But
I got a lot to teach you, my friend.
Indoor soccer, and the strikers were the ones that put this thing on. And by the way, not to skip a beat, but I want to for 1 second. Indoor soccer is a really fun, intense sport to watch. I really enjoyed it, actually, watching these guys compete. But the strikers put this thing between the USA and Mexico. We got to take our top two teams at halftime of this soccer event. We had 12 minutes to work with, so we rushed out on the center of the field. Howe was out there with a couple other commentators. I set the boards up. The two teams competed against each other. We gave away some big money too. I think it was a couple $1,000s to the winning team, and it was exciting, Finn. It was a start to what I think is going to be a really good relationship that we're going to have with this MASL. I think they were really pleased with this first go, and I think there's going to be more to come with the ACO MASL in the future.
Awesome. Well, and Heinemann was just telling me, and you may already know this if you already subscribed to the YouTube channel, but that is on the ACO YouTube channel, so you can see the setup and little bits and pieces of all of that. So very cool stuff. And again, that one flew a little bit under the radar, kind of the one-off events like that we're able to pull off with Field of Dreams and the things that we did with the Gulf Coast Classic, and more of those sorts of things are in the pipeline, and more news on those as we get to them. We're going to talk a little bit later about, this early in the season, the dominance of one particular pair of juggernauts. Probably isn't going to be that hard to figure out who we're talking about. But also I want to talk about what happened at Prince William this past weekend. I saw some video from Chris Clark, and you want to talk about the ACO family and why over 100 of us wear this on our shoulder or somewhere on our body. This was the embodiment of all of that.
Oh, this was, with what Chris and the family was able to do out there in Manassas was beautiful. I mean, what they did was they raised money for a dear friend of ours, Steve Mullis, who's been going through a lot over the last few years, battling cancer and through financial difficulties and things like that. And Chris and April and the team out there, organized a little effort, and I want to say they raised like $1,200 or $1,300, man, from people that were so generous to Steve Mullis in his endeavors or his battles. And I just want to say thank you to all those people and thank you to Chris and April and the team that put this thing together to help out Steve, because it was something special.
Well, it really was, and it was, even as you watch the video, I just got it through via my phone, but you could hear even Clark kind of choked up as he went through it all. But it really is what we're all about. Mullis, you're not going to meet a nicer guy in the world than Steve Mullis, and I think he was truly touched, and I know that as part of the whole family environment, we talk about it, but we don't just talk the talk. Clearly with the family at the Prince William Major there in Manassas, they walk the walk and then some. So kudos.
He still has, Mullis still has one of my most favorite wins of all time in a major, and the reaction to that win. And maybe one of these days we could pull it back out of the archives. But when we were out in California, out there in Washington near Seattle, I don't know if you remember that, Finn, when he won that major out there. But he was so giddy and so freaking excited. It was awesome. So yeah. Steve Mullis is just one heck of a dude.
I might have heard him talk about that, I don't know, 18 months later. Yeah, I don't think we've been able to peel that smile off of his face that was already there anyway. It just got almost Joker-like, so much bigger. But just a great guy, and kudos, like you said, to everybody out there for organizing and participating and being part of that for Steve. But while we're talking Prince William, let's talk about the results of one of two majors that we had going on this week. And I think we'll just run through some of the top finishers, because there are some new purple jerseys, as there always are early in the season, but we're starting to get some repeats very, very early in the season. Co-ed doubles, congratulations to Brooke House and Michael Street. I'm sorry, I'm going to be looking down here at my notes. Juniors, this fella Isaac Hurt, I don't know if you've heard of him. He grabbed another patch for his purple jersey. And seniors, Scotty Harper, congratulations, a first purple jersey for him. And Chloe Arrington, a name we haven't talked about a whole lot so far this year in women's, but she earns her first purple jersey, and she adds that to a very impressive list of purple jersey winners so far in the women's division that includes Amber Fretwell, Kelsey Hyder, Josephina Ernstberger, Kim Dice, and Chloe Arrington now adds her name to that list. In doubles, do you remember who won doubles? I'm having a hard time remembering. Help me out here.
It hurts me to say this, but
no, it doesn't. It hurts you because as you say it.
No.
How about Caleb and Isaac? And then Caleb
Incredible.
Takes the singles. So congratulations to him, and we'll get to that in a moment. But Caleb has now officially, before the end of September, maxed out major wins, and those two as a team have maxed out doubles wins before the end of September. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the season starts in September. That's pretty big. So now the question is, how do they keep that momentum, and we'll get to that later, going through the rest of the season, and what are you going to do to stop them. So let's talk about Legends, and let's thank the crew also. Tammy and Junior, I'm sorry, in Manassas, but Tammy and Junior and everybody was there as part of that crew.
No, absolutely. That crew was amazing that was out there. Again, Chris and April and Tammy and Junior, and everybody that helped to pull that thing off out there in Manassas for us. That's, I think, that might be the 4th or 5th time we've been out there, and I think we've been at like 3 different locations.
Right.
So hopefully we can find that permanent home. I didn't get a chance to find out how things went overall with the facility. I know the year before it was like at a big dance hall place that was kind of unique and different. But I think this might be a good spot for us moving forward into the future. I hope it worked out well for our partners out there, because it feels like it did. It went great in terms of the player participation and everything that went on out there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Chris and April, the running point on that whole crew. So thanks to everybody for being part of that. And you were part of the crew as we went back to Legends in Bryan, Texas, just outside of Texas A&M. But we were kind of out in the Spooky Nook portion of the building versus the room that we started in, because last year we were there. They had that massive volleyball extravaganza going on, but we were actually out in that section this year, and boy, I tell you what, this yielded a lot of really good stuff, did it not? At the Legends facility.
It did. I mean, we will be back in Texas in Legends College. Legends Convention Center, Sports Center, is right there in Bryan, Texas, right there in College Station area, and it's cool because Texas A&M is there. So a lot of students are around. Hopefully next season we can get some of those students really engaged and part of this. But the facility, dude, is second to none. I mean, there's a ton of them, around there. But no, I loved it. But we had a lot of good partners there too, bag partners that were in the house. The people that helped out, Whitney Garner and Jacob Garner and Clinton Bilo. Clinton actually had a booth there. You can kind of see it on the video right now.
IMF, yeah.
IMF Cornhole was in the house. A lot of young guns too. The young gun talent we had there was insane, Finn. But what was really probably most fun for me is there was a big group from Vegas that came out. There was a decent crowd that was brought in by Big D. Jonathan Straczynski from Big D was there. And he's got a lot of exciting things going. Matter of fact, I was on his podcast show the other day, the Texas Cornhole Show, and that was a lot of fun when he got me on the air there. But then another guy from the Bag Brokers, Mason, was there as well. Both 2 stamped bag partners of ours, the Bag Brokers as well as Big D. And excited because we walked away from this thing, I think, with 3, possibly 3 future certified official groups.
Awesome.
From conversations I had with different folks. So again, the tournament was well played. A lot of different winners. You can see Chase Lester was actually one of those players that Big D had brought in. So that was cool to see him battling. And I think it was, it might have been the first tournament that Barger and Bear Paw played in. So Barger and Bear Paw now have teamed up as a doubles team, and the Garners are back together as a doubles team. I think it had to do with travel and stuff like that. As you know, Barger and not Barger and Bear Paw, but Barger and
Spencer
Garner were partnered up originally and won, I believe, the first major of the season that they competed in together.
Yep.
But that relationship, broke up again because of travel time, I believe. And now Spencer's back playing with Jacob for the season. And, Sebastian Barger ended up grabbing another great player. I guess you can't go wrong grabbing Gary Bearpaw either, man. So the 2 of them are competing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was a great tournament. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the future growth in Texas. We've got a lot of good things planned, as well as, tell me a little bit about that house group that we were working with.
Well, Hot on Homes, I was just going to say, they're one of those groups so far right now within the Texas border, but in multiple cities where they're kind of aggregating all sorts of different information. And you see these shows put together where they show you different developments and housing setups and homes specifically. And they've decided that they thought, it makes perfect sense, because if you're building out a home or you're building out a life in a brand new neighborhood or a development, or you want to see someplace maybe new and different than you currently live, that when you're building out your home, it's not just the inside, it might be the outside as well. So we've partnered up with Hot on Homes. So cornhole is a big part of maybe that backyard setup that you've got, with maybe you've got your outdoor kitchen, that sort of thing. So Hot on Homes was a big part in helping us, kind of pushing more of that presence in Texas and a new home for your cornhole in Texas, if you like. So we'll be working with them closely with regard to Lubbock and a few other things that are coming up. We'll tell you about as they happen. But thanks to Hot on Homes and Anna and Tom and the whole group there for making that happen. But you made mention of Chase Lester grabbing his first purple jersey, Gary Bearpaul's first purple jersey, as a function of partnering up with Sebastian Barger, who now has a patch to add to his. How about Kim Dice taking down the aforementioned Kim Dice, taking down her first purple jersey in women's? Robert Harper takes the seniors division. Spencer Garner already has a purple jersey for having won juniors. He takes the juniors. But we're going to get to this here a little bit toward the end with the topics. How about Kim Dice and Chad Jackson? Kim and Chad's excellent cornhole adventure as they document their way around the country. I mean, Kim Dice is on fire right now, and Chad is throwing some serious bags as well. I'd like to say that Dice is on a roll, but I don't think it would be all that unique.
Well, I tell you, I love checking out their excellent adventure. Because sometimes they're dragging family along. Yeah. Sometimes they're out on their own doing their thing. They seem to be getting the chance to travel the world and following the ACO around town. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're planning on and headed up to Maine here and Bangor soon. So it's exciting stuff, and it was awesome to see them at the Legends Event Center, doing what they do. And I tell you what, I mean, Kim has really got her game on right now. She's playing super, super well. We ended up going with the two of them and a couple other folks over to hit some golf balls too. I don't know if you remember, Finn, by the Legends last year, there's that big shot, I think it's called, or something like that, golf center. So had a lot of fun smacking some balls around. And next year, if you're not a player that had the chance to get the Legends Event Center, it's a place to go. And Kim and Chad, part of their excellent adventure was coming to Legends this year, and I love it.
And did you stay in the same hotel?
We did, dude. I loved it. I actually
that place
played
is awesome.
Against IMF cornhole late night. He and Clinton got out, and we come back to the hotel, and we banged around with some old cornhole bags out there. The ones that weigh half the one weighs like half an ounce and the other one weighs a pound. So we had a good match out there. And by the way, the kid won, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
But one more time, I want to thank the Legends group, because Finn, we showed up there, and as you said, we were in a different spot in the facility. What's really cool about the spot we were in this year is the ability to see that we can grow, because they have 8 of these basketball, volleyball courts. And we were able to, set up the courts all in one zone this year, but we can set up and grow. And the cool thing about it is we have the opportunity to grow to hundreds of people there at this Texas event. And they had the team there at Legends did a great job too.
That's awesome. And the team that helped you run it, as you mentioned, good stuff, the Garners and a host of others. So again, congratulations to all our winners for both of this past weekend. Some other winners, you mentioned Spooky Nook, or I did earlier, is a bigger version of kind of the Legends complex, this multi-purpose sports complex. We had a survey winner from there, but prior to that, we had our Buffalo survey winner, Justin DeBrozen, out of Michigan. So he's grabs a free tournament entry to the major of his choice, and this goes with the post-event surveys that we send out, because we want to find out where you stayed, why you stayed there, all these different things that are useful for us to report back to the cities that we visit and that we invade. And then the Spooky Nook Major survey winner, Steve Mendel. He's a Hoosier from right across the border in Indiana. Congratulations to Steve as well. So again, when you get those surveys, make sure you fill them out. They could be very valuable to you at an upcoming major. Just ask Justin and Steve. Now, we talked about Bangor, Maine. First time in Bangor, and this is the Hollywood Casino Major. We're in the Cross Insurance Center across the street, basically, from the Hollywood Casino. Now, you want to talk about a place that is just going to be jam-packed full of activity. This is that place. And you want to talk about the time of year to be in Bangor, Maine? to see fall the way it was meant to be seen, I would say mid-October would be that time. So we're heading there. And at the same weekend, not this weekend, but next, in the same weekend, I know you said you're going to be in Watertown in South Dakota, returning to South Dakota. And we planned that to be just far enough away from Sturgis, which is on the opposite side of the state, that the rumbling has finally subsided. So it'll be nice and peaceful in Watertown.
Is that the same weekend?
What, Sturgis?
Yeah.
No, it was about 3 weeks ago. That's what I'm saying. I think
okay. I thought you were saying it's the same weekend that we'll be there.
Watertown is here. Sturgis is way over here, but I think it's taken 3 weeks for the rumble to subside. So it's going to be nice and even keel. But so looking forward to being in Bangor for the first time and back to Watertown now for the second time. It's going to be big fun. Watch for links that are coming up for both of those to make sure that you get good deals. And find some, we're working on even some better deals for you in Bangor, because I know there's some other events going on there, which is messing a little bit with hotel prices, but we're working to find some even better deals that are out there for travel to get there as well.
Yeah. If you're coming to Watertown too, man, you can celebrate with me a little birthday party for someone.
Yeah. Chuck Norris turns 50. And I told him, I said, there will already be an AARP welcome basket on your pillow when you get there. I swear to God, there will be, because they know when he turns 50 and they know where he's going to be. I swear to God, they should have put AARP on finding Osama bin Laden. We'd have found him way sooner, and he'd have been dispatched of way earlier if you just put AARP on the case. So happy future birthday wishes to our man, the bearded ninja. We have so many ninjas in this organization. It's surprised anyone can ever see us. Season 19 for the Taco continues. One of the features that we've added, we started with Jack Harkrog, he and Misty are out anywhere and everywhere sporting their ACO gear. But how about this one? Rob Cooksey was out in a place I'd never heard of in Colorado, Tabernash, Colorado, and he shared a couple of photos with him out sporting his ACO gear. What he's not sporting is a sling on his pitching arm. And you were talking with him, as I was, in Spooky Nook. He thought maybe he tore his rotator cuff pitching here in Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, as early as I thought, a couple of weeks ago, he was scheduling surgery and stuff like that, from what I gathered. But your most recent conversation with him sounds like that might be good, that it's not happening. So,
well, yeah, I think he's rehabbing, and anything anybody can do to avoid surgery, they're going to do it. And He said he's feeling a little bit better, I think hoping to avoid surgery. But the way he was talking about it, he said, as soon as I did it, I knew it. And
I think Cooks is trying to model to be maybe the cover for the whole magazine this year. I mean, that shot's pretty solid.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Well, he'll certainly make it into the Where in the World Has the ACO Been going. And so, it's a good one from him. If you've got a photo and you're sporting your ACO gear, no matter where you are, it's kind of like Flat Stanley or Where's Waldo. We'd love to see him. Send him to taco@americancornhole.com, and we'll feature him in an upcoming episode. The other thing is the ACO B4. That is still back. What were you doing before you played cornhole and before you played ACO? Mainly, other sports, other activities. We had everything from modeling to horse riding, like fancy horse riding, to car racing, motorcycle racing, baseball, Little League. I forget who it was that sent me the most recent set of pictures, but they were just like baby pictures and stuff. I don't know if he was just jerking my chain, but it's what you were doing, not just the fact that you existed before cornhole. So send us what you were doing with a little description of what you're doing, because it was pretty funny, but I'm like, I don't know that we can use these. But again, taco@americancornhole.com, send them to me, and we'll get them up there. So what we have on the docket coming up, the next Pro Series skins, Atlantic City. And talk about a little bit how cool this facility is too.
Atlantic City, dude, number one, I'm fired up because it's our second skins event of the year for our pro players. Again, reminding everybody that if you are a pro player, you are welcome to compete in the skins, and you get to play for free. There's $5,000 on the line, and it's a fun part of the weekend. You and Philip and Eric will be doing an amazing job broadcasting that, so people that can't make it out to Atlantic City can at least tune in and watch that bad boy. But no, Atlantic City itself, Finn, I'm excited about it because this place, the Showboat Hotel, which hopefully most of our players end up deciding to stay there. We were working on making sure that we get the right code together for them, because I think there was an issue with the code. They've gone through some changes. But that facility just pumped, a couple $100 million into this water park that's supposedly like the biggest water park in the United States. It is going to be fabulous. If you have a family or friends, or just want to be a dude or a lady that wants to go down the slides, it supposedly is phenomenal. So I'm hoping that we can get most of our cornhole players back in to play cornhole and don't lose them all over to the zip slide or whatever. But it's going to be a lot of fun there in Atlantic City, and Finn looks like he's ready to grease up and go down the slide.
Absolutely. Wait till you see this in a Speedo.
Sunscreen on.
Yeah, wait till you see this in a Speedo. I'll be the only guy to get stuck on a water slide in the history of water slides. But no, it should be fun. And this Showboat place looks amazing. Can't wait to get there. Again, first visit to Atlantic City for me in general, but certainly the first opportunity for the ACO to host and to take the ACO Pro Skins game, again, a game that was basically adapted into the world of cornhole. And if you're looking for the rules and you still don't understand Skins Cornhole, maybe you haven't played Skins Golf or whatever, AmericanCornhole.com has how the pros are playing, and then there's also a backyard. It has its own logo. Actually, we've kind of developed a ACO Skins backyard version. You can play for anything you want, but it's all laid out there for you. At AmericanCornhole.com. So go check that out. Anybody that's interested in becoming a certified official, where to buy your tickets, anything and everything is there. So looking forward to Atlantic City. And the big news we announced a couple of Wednesdays back was the return of the ACO to Throwensboro, Kentucky for the World Championships, expanding a couple of days for more activities. But if you loved Owensboro, and we know that a lot of you did, there were lots of things for you to do. The opening party was a lot of fun. The closing party may be the reason we're not being able to go back for another opening party, but we'll work on those folks at the VFW Hall. I think once they saw the cash register totals at the end, they're like, yeah, we'll have those guys back. But looking forward to being back at in Owensboro again for back-to-back ACO World Championships.
That's a great one, and I tell you, we were talking about all the exciting things in the beginning of this show that have gone on already this year, from adaptive cornhole to MASL to, you were talking about the Hertz dominance. We talked about the creation of the skins, all this exciting stuff. And, Finn, there's some other stuff that's kind of going on behind the scenes. And one of the things that's really cool right now is we have signed up officially our first international official stamped bag company.
That's awesome.
We're gonna make the official announcement next week. Share with you, the name of the company, where they're from. But there's some big stuff happening on that front as well. So looking forward to the future as we continue to move forward. But that international bag company coming on board is pretty dang exciting for the ACO.
See, look at you go. You see, you're figuring this media stuff out. You always end on the big tease for the carryover. I had it on here to wait till the end to ask you about that as the tease. You already nailed it. Good for you. He's media. He is so media savvy.
Hey, we're out.
We're done. Yeah, drop the mic. Don't drop your beer glass though. Couple of quick topics. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Chad and Kim and Chad's excellent cornhole adventure. If you're not following along, connect with Kim Dice. It was so funny. I was on vacation last week and I was down in the mountains, and the point of that was so that my cell phone would not work anywhere. But every time I'd get into range, I swear this is true, it would pop up and it'd be like bing, 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 bing. And it was just more pictures of Kim Dice and Chad Jackson holding trophies. I'm like, did anyone else go to this? And then I'm like, holy shit, look at all the people that went to this. She was killing it. He was killing it. If you're not following their adventure, you've got to. It's really fun to be a part of. And it's really what it's all about, is you can live vicariously through their travel and through their experiences. But congratulations again to Kim Dice, Chad Jackson. What a great season they're having so far, and just amplifying how they finished season 18. And then I guess the final question is, and I'll ask you, now that Caleb has maxed out in singles majors, and he and Isaac Hurt have maxed out in doubles majors, what does that do to their psyche? And what does it do to the psyche of the other players? Is anybody going to beat them? We talked about the focus that we saw coming into Charleston, West Virginia, for instance, with Caleb. Seemed different than last year. Last year he was getting mad. This year he's just getting focused. Isaac clearly has a lot of other things going on, including the new Gusto bags that he's dealing with and contending with. Who's going to beat them? Or are they going to back down a little bit? What do you think's going to happen here? And I'm talking to you, Frank, but I'm also talking to you who are watching. What do you think? Who beats it?
It's really tough, really, for me to make that call because there's an entire 9 months ahead of us or whatever it is before we get to the World Championships, right?
Yeah.
And really, that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now they're at the pinnacle of the game, and they have been for a long time. But a lot can happen in 9 months, especially if they back off a little bit and lose some of that fire and some of that drive. I don't think Caleb's lost that drive right now. I think he wants more than anything to win the world title this year. So I believe he's focused. I think this is going to be his year. The one thing that I could say that could be drive a stake into this is going to be what's happening in June, man. That could change it all for him because everybody knows. I mean, that's a big deal. He's got a big day of his life, coming up in June, and I wish both of them the best of luck with that day, and hopefully we'll be there to celebrate it with them. It's the game plan, but that I think that them as doubles partners though, they're going to be tough to beat. I mean, they can be beaten, but they're going to be tough to beat. But the thing is will they be able to keep this momentum all year long? Or are they going to take a break too? Are they going to step away and let some other people get in the game as well? I don't know.
Well, and I wondered that because, as you mentioned, Caleb's getting married in June. Was his strategy to go out, say, uber focused up front, do everything he needed to do because he knows he's going to be busier as he gets toward that day? I mean, whether he's planning to or not, whether he knows it or not, he's going to be busier getting closer to that June date.
Sure.
Isaac, he might be married before, the way we saw him canoodling, he might be married before Caleb. Who knows? But I know Becky right now is just hitting me with eye darts. I'm sorry, Becky. But the bottom line is he's a 16-year-old guy.
Right.
I mean, his life is changing as well in all sorts of different ways. So are they front loading and then going to pull back and then just become an unknown factor coming in to the World Championships? It's going to be interesting to see. But again, I've run out of questions to ask them in the winner's circle. So if anybody would do me a solid maybe and win, and then come up, or if those guys and they win, give me some questions to ask. That would be huge. But if you're able to take them down, at least I'll have some new questions to ask. But I'll tell you, nobody's playing hotter than they are, except for perhaps Kim and Chad, and good for them. But the bottom line is, we're watching so many great names and so many new names and great games and new games showing up in the ACO, all the way back to what you said about building our presence with those new COs potentially in Texas and everything happening between the coasts. And, as we talked about with our friends from Cornwall internationally, I've had a lot of back and forth with Tom and Matt and those guys. They found themselves an indoor place. They've built their boards. They've built their shoot it tubes, and they are practicing. And they said it's going to be a whole different ball game when they come over next year for the Worlds to Owensboro. So anyway, it's an exciting season. It's just getting started. And
right, that's it. It's just getting started, Finn. It's just getting started. We just got done with September, and all this has gone on already, dude. It's
I know. It's insane. So next week we'll have time to fill because he's got 2 roll calls to comb through to figure out who his picks are going to be, both for Bangor, Maine, and also for Watertown, South Dakota. But in the meantime, thanks for checking us out tonight. We're going to give your Taco Tuesday back to you. Bring those comments and let us know what you think on any and all subject matter. But it was a great episode. Be safe. Stay away from the bird poop shoots while you're down there for the rest of the time in Florida, because those seagulls, who knows what they eat. Ugh. And you don't want any more of that on you. But as far as getting a little on you, try your Tuesday night out for size. In the meantime, I'm Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO, leaving things off to Frank Geers, the Cornhole Dude, live from the firing zone, from the middle of the drop zone, if you will, for the Seagulls in Florida, reminding you,
keep on pitching.
Pooping.